Oh, hi there. Welcome back. Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Jessie Scotch, and today we're doing a video all about desserts, but high protein little treat desserts. So not like a big thing of ice cream or something like that, but like tiny little bites. You know, if you're feeling like snacky, or if you just want like a little treat, then some high protein desserts that will satisfy that craving. So the little dessert treats I chose are ones that I actually personally wanted to make, and just to see if they were delicious. All of the desserts are high protein, and I tried to find the ones that require minimal effort to make. So something that's like you can make quite easy. Obviously they have a little bit of preparation, but I wanted something that's like you can just make really fast, like as if you were just buying like a packet of lollies or something, that you can make them at home. Okay, so the first recipe I decided to try are the pre-workout raspberries. They are just 2 ingredients, really simple to make. So they're really simple to make, but only I managed to fuck it up somehow. So you just need a pint of raspberries and your pre-workout. So it's like a tasty little treat that you can try just before you go to the gym. So you need 1 pint of raspberries and 1.5 scoops of pre-workout. They had the pre-workout listed. I don't have this pre-workout, so I just used 2 different ones that I had. I had the C4 pre-workout, and then I also have one from Grenade, the cola one, and then the one from C4 is a sour apple. So I bought the raspberries already frozen, and then later I realized that you were just meant to have fresh raspberries, wash them, put the pre-workout on them, and then put it in the freezer. So what I did is I had the frozen raspberries, and then I put the pre-workout on each one. So we're going to prep these first because I'm going to go to the gym after, so then I'm going to try them out before going to the gym. I have to say that my expectations are very low for this, but let's give it a go. So because my expectations are so low for this, I'm not going to use that much because I don't want to waste too much food. So I think we just start off with maybe something like 22. We're going to use 22 grams of raspberries per pre-workout. So 2 bowls, 1 scoop of pre-workout, then quickly and gently shake them and evenly coat them. Add the other half or 1 more scoop of pre-workout and shake again. I mean, that's a lot of pre-workout. So I don't know, 1.5 scoops for just a small bag of raspberries seems like a lot, and I just don't know if that would be my vibe. And then we just put them into the freezer and let it process. Let it stay in the freezer for a little while because they were already frozen. Okay, so now that I'm getting ready to go to the gym, I have my pre-workout, what were they called? Raspberry snacks that have the pre-workout on them.
Why is it spicy?
Oh. I mean, if you like sour stuff, I guess it could be your type of thing. I don't like the idea of it, let's say it that way. I don't like the idea of having to eat this just before going to the gym to get my pre-workout. If I want to have a pre-workout, I would think I would prefer to just drink it. Plus, I also don't like to eat just before going to the gym. I like to at least an hour or so before. I think the ones with the sour apple on it, they actually taste okay. No. Just no. My expectations for this recipe weren't that high. I just thought it was something that was creative and I wanted to give it a try. I don't rate this. I wouldn't ever do this recipe again. It is creative, and I guess if you like to eat before going to the gym, or you want to, I don't even know, have a creative way that you can take your pre-workout, I guess it's a thing. But yeah, to me that this recipe didn't really work, and it's not really something that I would be in a rush to do again. So she said that she loves to eat a handful of these on her way to the gym when she's hungry and needs a little boost of energy, and sometimes she'll have a couple in the middle of the day if she needs a little pick-me-up, which I guess this idea does kind of work, and I think that it could be good, but I don't know if you should be having so much pre-workout just randomly throughout the day. Do whatever you want. Okay, and then the next recipe we have are high protein gummy bears. So it says that you need to mix up 3 large bowls. I only did 1 bowl. Maybe you could have different flavors for the bowls, but we just did 1 bowl, so we did 1 bowl. I mixed in 1 packet of the jelly and then 2 packets of the gelatin. So in 3 large mixing bowls, I did 1. Add 1 box of sugar-free jello, mix into each one. Add 1/3 cup of boiling water, which is 79 mils.
We went way over.
Into each one of the bowls. Whisk really well until the jello and gelatin has completely dissolved. Put gummy bear molds onto a large baking sheet. Add the jelly mix to the bowls. Refrigerate for at least 30 to 40 minutes. Macros are 24 calories, 54 grams of protein, 0 carbs, 0 fats. But these ones, to be honest, they're not very flavoursome. They do have that nice texture if you want, but it doesn't really satisfy that the lolly crave. The protein and everything wasn't as good as they make it out to be. You also can't keep them out of the fridge for very long. They do melt really, really fast. And they do get very sticky very easy, so it's not like you could make these and then take them with you if you wanted to go, I don't know, swimming or to a picnic or something like that. I mean, if I start holding them in my hand, you can see like they instantly want to start melting and sticking. You can see now, just from me holding it in my hands for this few minutes, it's already starting to break down. So you do have to keep them in the fridge and kind of eat them straight from the fridge. And as I said, the jello that I use is it's not very flavoursome. Yeah, so when I did it, it worked out to be 218 calories, 30 grams of carbs, 2 grams of fat, and 12 grams of protein, and 27 grams of sugar. So you need to get the sugar-free jello. I couldn't find any sugar-free jello here in Germany, so I just used an alternative. Unfortunately, it did have sugar, so it did have carbs. So therefore, when I made it, it didn't fit the same macros that was in the reel. I think then, I don't know, maybe then just eating a packet of lollies would be better than making it with the jello and probably taste better and everything anyway. I think, yeah, you definitely need the sugar-free jello to make this be such a high protein, low calorie treat. I would say it's a bit of a fail. And the next recipe we tried was vegan chocolate mousse. I have to say, with the video, it looked really good. I was definitely persuaded by the texture and like the velvetiness of when they were mixing it. To make this recipe, you need 1 carton of silken tofu, usually around 300 grams, 75 grams of dark chocolate. They used Lindt 70%, which I did as well. And then you can use flavor drops, agave syrup, honey. I just used a flavor drop thing that I found at the shop that says it was low calories and blah, blah, blah. Put the tofu into a blender, blend the tofu, melt the chocolate, fold the dark chocolate into the blended silken tofu. It says fold, I'm just mixing. Maybe it would have made sense to use the blender thingy. So we have the salted caramel drops that we're just going to add into it. I don't know how much to add in, so I'm just going to do and mix again. It actually looks so smooth. Pour into 4 little jars. So I've upcycled some jars, and then I have a container for later because I thought it would be a good idea to have something with a lid on it so then it could stay in the fridge for longer and not get the gross top bits. So it says it's meant to make 4. Like, obviously they use really small little jars, and I just had like medium to big size jars, so they said to put it in 4 and I just put it into 3. But here you can see that we just have 3 jars and it's barely even filled them. Tastes pretty good so far. The after flavor is actually not so nice. Then set in the fridge for a few hours. I left this in the fridge for a couple of days just because I got really busy and I just kind of forgot about, or should I say I didn't have enough time to record myself eating it, so I wanted to wait until I was ready to try it. So the texture of it is pretty cool. It definitely has like that mousse pudding consistency. For some reason there's like little hard bits in it and it's making me feel a bit not so nice about eating it. It's got like these little hard bits all through it. Maybe that's from the chocolate that when I put it in there. I think the consistency of it is really nice, and I think that the flavor when you start eating it is really good. but then as it's been sitting in your mouth for a little bit, the after flavor is really not enjoyable. It has like, I don't know, like this chalky flavor. I don't know how to describe it. So I think as a dessert, it's not that bad. I had higher expectations, so maybe that's why I'm a little bit hard on it, because I thought it would be better. Okay, so this recipe, it says, so for the whole thing, it was 674 calories. Carbs were 32, fat was 44, and protein was only 26. It does have a little bit of protein. I just think it's a very flat dessert. But I think if you were maybe having like a little dinner party and you wanted to, actually no, I don't know if you would want to serve this at a dinner party. I don't know. It's okay. If you're into tofu, maybe it's your type of thing. You know what? I just realized that it claims that it is a vegan dessert, but I use Lindt chocolate and Lindt chocolate isn't vegan. And it also said to use Lindt chocolate in the recipe. So I'm a little bit confused about that. The dessert just doesn't do anything for me. If you're a vegan and you want to make chocolate mousse, maybe it is good, but make sure you get the right chocolate to go with it. So when I did the macro comparison to the real, it was actually pretty much the same. So it was true to what it said it was. I just didn't enjoy the texture or anything of it, and towards the end it had a really weird after flavor. Like when you were eating it, it was really nice, and then afterwards it was like I don't know if it was the tofu, I'm assuming it was, but it just had such an off flavor in the back of your mouth that I really didn't enjoy it, and I actually gave all of them away. So also I feel like the amount of protein in it wasn't really that good in the end as I thought it was. So as I was going along with this recipe, it was probably one of my more ones that I was looking forward to make. So I actually played around with this recipe a little bit because I felt like they had a lot of unnecessary things in there that would just make the calories and make the whole thing so high. So they label that it is a high protein dessert, but yet they don't actually state how much protein is in the dessert. So they said that you needed 118 grams of cashew butter. So that is a lot. I don't really like cashews personally. In the recipe they say that you can use any nut butter that you want. So I went with almond butter, and then I just adjusted it. So rather than using half a cup, I used a quarter. So I used 79 grams of almond butter, and then it said that you needed to have 79 grams of maple syrup. I also don't really like maple syrup, so I ended up using some honey instead. So I ended up just using 1 tablespoon of honey, which was more than enough in the end. This whole thing came out super sweet in the end because you also have to use protein powder, and the protein powders have a lot of sweetness in them anyway that I just didn't think it was necessary to have so much added sugar into it on top of that. 79 grams of your favorite protein powder. Then you need 79 grams of Greek yogurt or coconut yogurt. I use the Skyr yogurt. 118 cups of milk.
Cups of milk?
I think that was meant to be mils. So then it says you need 1/2 to 3/4 cup of milk. Again, because we were using the protein powder, when I just mix it with water, it is so thick that I also didn't think it was necessary to add milk. 1.5 tablespoons of vanilla extract. And then for the coating, you need 1 1/3 cups of chocolate chips, 1 to 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. Blend all ingredients into a blender and then put it into the molds. I just used a normal ice tray and then put it into the freezer. I completely forgot about this, so I ended up leaving them in the freezer for about 5 to 6 days, and then they were really hard to get out of the mold. Then you just put them into the chocolate and then put them onto the side and put them back in the freezer. I found it really difficult to put the chocolate onto them. It was sticking to my fingers like really bad. But then later when I was rewatching the video, I noticed that she used a fork, so this probably would have been a good thing to do. It would have probably stopped it from sticking to my fingers, but I just kept going with it anyway. It was fine. So even though I didn't use all of the same ingredients like the original recipe, I just ended up using like 1/3 of the amount of nut butter. I also didn't use as much maple syrup or honey, and I also didn't add the milk, and they were actually so creamy and so sweet. Like you really didn't need to put so much sugar in them at all. It just gives me like these I don't even remember the full name of them, but you can get these like the cornetto ice creams, and if you have them in the freezer, it's just so easy just to like snack on them if you want to. So I really like the recipe, but at the same time I changed the recipe so much, so I don't know if I really did like the recipe or if I just like the concept and the idea. And yeah, I definitely think something like this, if you really have a sweet tooth and you like to have a little dessert at the end of the day, or if you're really into like ice cream and like little bitey things, it was really good. They didn't write the calories or the macros or anything like that. I would say that if you stuck to their original recipe, it would be really high in calories and carbs, especially with all the maple syrup and the cashew butter and stuff like that. With the way that I made it, because it has like the Greek yogurt as well as the protein powder in it, they would be quite high in protein. Obviously you can play around with these recipes and make them fit your macros better. I would just suggest putting the ingredients first into MyFitnessPal and then working out which fits into your macros, and then yeah, making them, because they were really good and it was delicious. Okay, and so lastly we have the peanut butter chip frozen yogurt bars. This one doesn't say that it is high in protein at all. It doesn't claim to be high in protein or anything like that. I just seen the recipe and thought it looked really good and wanted to try and make it. For the yogurt protein ice cream, you will need 1/4 cup of runny peanut butter, which is 85 grams, 1 cup of yogurt of your choice, which is 240 grams, and 2 tablespoons of mini chocolate chips or chopped chocolate, 2 tablespoons of mini chocolate chips or or chopped, oh my god, chocolate, I don't know, 2 tablespoons of vanilla protein powder. I don't remember how many grams I used. So add all of the ingredients into a blender, blend everything together. Then once it's done, put it onto a baking tray. It says that you should add the paddle pop sticks. I didn't have any, so I was just creative and I just used some chopsticks and broke them in half and then added that as the stick, which worked really well, by the way. So then you put it in the freezer for 5 to 6 hours. I ended up getting very distracted when it came to filming, so I actually left them in the freezer for 5 to 6 days. Once they are frozen enough that you can pick them up on the stick, then you want to melt the chocolate. You need 1 cup of chocolate, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, and then you put it back into the freezer and then you can eat at a later date whenever you're ready. Like I said, that I accidentally left them in the freezer for like 5 or 6 days before I added the chocolate on top, and they were all perfectly fine. I would just maybe give them a couple of minutes because they're super hard when you first get them out, and just let it melt down a little bit. It is so hard.
That's what she said.
Have our little So the peanut butter is very overpowering. That's all I can taste is the peanut butter. These ones here have more of like a vanilla ice cream, where this definitely tastes like peanuts and peanut butter. It also tastes really good. It gives me the feeling of I'm eating an ice cream on a stick. It's definitely not as sweet as these ones, so maybe putting a little bit of honey in it if you do have a sweet tooth is a good idea, because these are so much sweeter than these ones. Yeah, I really like the idea. I like the concept if you have a sweet tooth, or if you like to eat a dessert at the end of every day, because I know that I do. This is a really good alternative. It feels like I'm eating an ice cream and I would be totally satisfied. These ones are a lot more, like the little ice cream bites are a lot more messy to eat than this one, because it's just on a stick, so everything is there, where these ones your hands get really dirty really fast, but I mean, is that a problem? The little ice cream bites would be more my favorite. They definitely just taste exactly like an ice cream that you would buy from the store. Out of the 2 frozen yogurt desserts, I think that they were both really good. They were really different in their own ways as well. Yeah, I enjoyed the outcome. They were both delicious. I can't really fault them too much. But I think that if you're wanting like a high protein dessert that you can eat a couple of times a week, they both worked really well. They both taste really delicious, and they taste like a normal ice cream. Maybe if you're lactose intolerant, the ice cream alternatives you can make yourself really easy. They're high protein. You can control what ingredients and stuff go in there and make it to fit your dietary requirements. It would be something that you can eat quite regularly, both really high in protein, and it's just a different way of taking pre-workout pretty much. So it's like frozen yogurt with protein powder, and you can eat it as an ice cream. So out of all of the recipes for this video, these 2 are the only 2 that tasted good. All of the other ones I would say were pretty disappointing. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making this video. I have a really sweet tooth, so I definitely have a lot more recipes I want to try. So if you like that, let me know. If there's any other recipes that you think I should try, then please let me know in the comment box below. And yeah, thanks for being here. And if you want to follow me on any of my social media, I'm Jessie Scotch. Catch you next time. Tschüss.